Joining me in the studio now is the Shadow Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs, Julian Leeser, and we organised our discussion before this extraordinary announcement from Donald Trump alongside Benjamin Netanyahu to take over, to own the Gaza Strip. What do you make of it?
Well, I think let's go back to first principles, Kieran. We've had a terrible conflict since October 7, the largest murder of Jewish people in a single day since the Holocaust. This is done by Hamas, a terrorist organisation that we list in our own country as a terrorist organisation. Hamas continues to hold hostages. Some of those hostages are being returned home. We want to see every single one of those hostages returned home. Eventually, in the fullness of time, we want to see a two-state solution in the Middle East, but we want to see one where it's a negotiated two-state solution. It's not a unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state. It's a solution where the Palestinian organisations recognise Israel's right to exist and that final status issues are negotiated. And I contrast that with the position of the present government, where they have
you talk about a two-state solution,
changing our policy in relation to Israel. For
but I mean that's really turned on its head now, because what is a two-state solution if the US owns Gaza Strip?
Well, the President's put forward a policy today, and it's his policy. It's not a policy we've put forward. I'm not going to offer a running commentary on it. But I'm going to go back to first principles that we want to see as a priority the hostages returned home. We want to see a peace in the Middle East, things that lead to peace and security. And we want to
Would this lead to peace and security?
Well, as I say, I'm not going to provide a running commentary on the President's proposal. It's not something that we've put forward.
It's extraordinary, though, isn't it? For a group of people who would have and have been campaigning for their own sovereign state to then say this will be US-owned, operated, and a long-term ownership.
Well, we support a two-state solution. That is one where the Palestinian organisations recognise Israel's right to exist. There's negotiations in relation to the final status issues. That is the position of the coalition on these issues. And what the Labor Party has been doing, pursuing unilateral recognition for domestic votes where they're fighting the Greens, that's been a massive change in our foreign policy, and one that
not as big as this.
Reject.
Not as big as this from Donald Trump.
Well, in the context of Australian foreign policy, that's been the biggest change. This is an idea that's been put forward by the President today. It's not an idea we've put forward.
How will this be received internationally, though? At the UN, as you said, the government falling into line with other international or members of the United Nations saying that Palestine should be recognised as a state, and now the US going in and taking ownership.
Well, Kieran, you have many.
It is extraordinary, isn't it?
You have access to many learned commentators on this network. You just had Chris Ullman in here a short time ago. They are the people that will provide commentary on this. As the Shadow Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs, my job is to state the coalition policy, and our policy is we note that the President's put this policy forward, but it's not a policy we've put forward,